everybody. This month I'm going to talk to you a little bit about making meals easier during the holiday season. It's such a busy time of year and we all get under stress because we have so many activities and various family functions going on, and the last thing we want to do is cook. So I'm going to talk to you today how to make it quick and wholesome and use what you have at home to prepare great dinners. I want you to get in the habit of visiting your freezer to see what you have inside, and then we're going to be able to learn how to find recipes that you can use for what you have on hand. After you get ready to make that list and you find out what you have, then you'll be able to do your order and plan accordingly when you place your AP order. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is making a calendaring your meals. I learned this a few years ago and I'm not very good at doing it all the time, but when I do it, it makes it so much easier. And the thing that I do is make a monthly meal planner, and you'll get a PDF of this so you can do it yourself later. You'll look at this and you'll think to yourself, I don't have enough meals in there to fill that whole entire month. And what I've learned is I didn't usually do it on Sunday because I always knew I was making a Sunday meal anyway, so I didn't really need to plan that. And I never did it on Saturday because we always had a date night, so I really only had like 5 nights of the week that I had to plan a dinner for. So the easiest way to set this meal planning up is, number one, pick a day that you're going to do it every month. So I would pick usually the first Sunday of the month, and then I sat down with my calendar and would go through it and fill out my days. And I knew the activities my family was doing, like if we had soccer games or football games or choir concerts, anything like that, you'd want to pencil that in so you knew what you were doing that night so that you could plan your meal accordingly. Then the next thing you're going to want to do is make a master plan, a master list of all of the meals that you like to prepare. And this is just a basic mix of a list. You can add whatever you want and learn, add new recipes to it, but it's going to be your basis for filling up this calendar. Now, when you sit down with your calendar and you have this little list in front of you, I can see all the things that I make and just put them in on a night, and then it makes it so much easier because you're not having to think about it. I will give you this list in a PDF also, and you can go ahead and adjust it and add the things that you like to cook. And some of these, most of the time, you'll know what burgers are, you know what meatloaf is, so it's just kind of basic. If there is a asterisk or a star on it, then there's a recipe attached with it. And so that's kind of what I'm going to give to you to help you out start doing this planning. And you'll want to be able to be kind of flexible in how you do it. And so when you have something come up that maybe isn't on your calendar, you can go ahead and shuffle a meal. So if you have a soccer game come up that you didn't know you were doing, just take whatever is in that night. If it's more complicated and won't work out for a soccer game, then just trade it with a night that's easier. And then you'll get down to where you have all of this food. And the other good thing is, a lot of times you can have a leftover night in there, because once you start making meals every night, a lot of times you'll have extra in your fridge that doesn't get eaten. And so we always had like a leftover night so we could eat whatever was left over, and it kind of made it fun. It was a kind of mom's night off. So that's kind of a real fun way to get you scheduled and get you started in meal planning. Another tip that I want to tell you about when you're doing this is, once you have your calendar set up and you have all your days marked down of what you're going to eat, well, when you get up the next morning, if you'll just look at your calendar and you know you're having tacos, and you know that you need meat out for tacos, so go pull it out that first thing in the morning. And if you'll set up a goal to have your dinner prepared or at least planned by noon, you will be less stressed at 5 o'clock. If we don't do that, we tend to see the clock at 5 o'clock and think to ourselves, oh my gosh, what am I going to make for dinner? And then we tend to go out for dinner a little more often than we should because we haven't pre-planned. So get in the habit of planning your dinner by noon. Sometime, and if you're not home, if you work all day, which a lot of moms do, if you work all day, then plan the night before. Look at that calendar, think what you're going to have the next day, and go and plan ahead that night. So if you need to pull something out, pull it out. If you have time that night to brown your hamburger, put it in the fridge, then you can warm it up. That makes it so much easier. You want to make sure you're using your leftovers. When I make a ham or a roast or something on a Sunday, maybe a bigger meal, and you have leftovers, I like to look at that meal and think to myself, and you can do that in your planning. If you know you're going to make a roast and you know you're going to have leftovers, and I like to make pot pie with my leftover meats, so I plan a night during that week to make a pot pie, and those are just ways that you can use your leftovers. If you have leftover mashed potatoes from that dinner and you know you can do something with it, you can always make a shepherd's pie and use those mashed potatoes. There's another great way to plan ahead, and that's to make freezer meals. We're going to talk a little bit about that today because I've made a few freezer meals just to show you, giving you a few recipes that you can use. And the freezer meals that I've made today are with using our product that we offer at Allison's Pantry, and not necessarily using it for the initial meal, but I've used them for the freezer meals. So we'll get started on that. Okay, I talked a little bit earlier about Crock Pot Meals. I just want to tell you there's so many great things you can put in the crock pot. And if you haven't gotten a cookbook that has a lot of recipes in it for crock pots, this is one that I recommend. It's called Fix It and Forget It. And there's actually a couple different ones. There's this one, and then there's an entertaining. There's a lot of different ones, but I love this book. It's got so many fun ideas in it, and it's the great thing that you can just look it up at lunchtime, put everything in your crock pot, and then dinner is served. But we're going to talk a little bit more tonight about crock pot items that we have. First off, I want to talk just about our soups. Of course, we have the best soups, the Blount and the Soup Supreme. Our Soup Supreme soups are wonderful in a crock pot. They're so easy, they're good, and they are good comfort food. And it's getting to be that time of year when it's so cool outside, it feels really good to have some soup. There's so many varieties you can choose from. Our cream of potato is one of our favorites. I like to serve it in the crock pot and then have the bread bowls, the Janie Lou's bread bowls work really well with that. I was going to make that tonight, but I've made chili instead because my crock pot is kind of full. But anyways, go for any of those soups, and you can plan ahead and just have soup night on your calendar and then go pick a soup out and go for it and try something different. The next item that I wanted to talk about is our Carve Master hams. Our Carve Master hams are wonderful. If you haven't tried them, they are the best ham. You don't waste even a morsel of them. I baked mine today and just kept nibbling at it while I was cutting it up because it was such a good ham. They're so flavorful and good. And some of the things that you can do with our Carve Master ham, if you wanted to bake it for a dinner, it's pretty good size. They're 7 to 9 pounds, so you get a nice little dinner size out of there, and then whatever's left over, you can use it for your leftovers. Some of the ideas are to have your soup. On your soup night, you could have your soup, and if you didn't have your bread bowls, you wanted to have a piece of ham in a Janie Lou's roll, you could do that. That works really well, and it's a nice fulfilling meal for you. Uses the ham really well. The other thing you can do is do grilled ham and cheese. And you could do that on the beehive rolls also. Just kind of toast them in the oven and have your grilled ham and cheese. It's great for breakfast ham. You can just slice out pieces, keep it in I would just cut my ham up and put them in pieces and then just keep them in a Ziploc bag. And when I wanted to make eggs and bacon in the morning or eggs and ham, you could just fry that piece of ham and be really good. You can also do breakfast sandwiches with the Bridgeford biscuits and put a piece of cheese in there with your ham and an egg, and you're out the door in no time. It also makes really good breakfast frittatas. So I like to cut my leftover ham up, and you'll see that I kind of dice these in just little pieces. And we're going to use this today to make a freezer meal, and we're going to make the cheesy ham and potatoes casserole. And the first thing that we're going to do is put our, these are our hash browns, the Glacier hash browns. And I'm just going to put them in a pan. Now, when you make freezer your freezer meals, I like to use these metal pans. They only were like $1 for 2. You get 2 pans of them. They're nice size. They'll fill probably a family. They'll feed about a family of probably 4 to 6, maybe 8 out of there, depending on how big your family is. But they work really well. And the nice thing about freezer food is you have it right there to pull it out, let it thaw, and then pop it in the oven right before your dinner. You can also pull it out. Sometimes I pull it out, throw it in the oven right out of the freezer, let it thaw, and set my timer on my oven, so I don't even have to come down and turn the oven on. It's already cooking, and it'll be done in time for dinner. But the other nice thing I like about freezer meals is that you have it in your freezer. If you have to take an impromptu dinner to someone, you've got it right there. Just go pull something out and go put it in the oven and take it over, and it's quick and easy, and you didn't even have to think about it. So anyways, we're going to talk a little bit about the cheesy ham and potatoes. I am going to give you this recipe. You'll get your recipes in those 2 on a sheet. You can just cut them out, put them in your recipe book. Well, let me skip real quick. I was talking to Julie yesterday about recipes, and I showed her my recipe book, and she told me to show all of you guys. So it's just kind of junky, not a big deal. It's just a loose leaf binder, and I just put my recipes in there in little scrapbooking pages. And so it's just a fun way to keep it all there, and you can organize it and put them in as you need. So you don't have to be fancy in a recipe world. Mine aren't fancy at all. So go ahead and we'll talk about this cheesy hash brown potatoes. It's basically kind of like a funeral potato, but you've added your ham to it. So I took the hash browns. We're just going to go ahead and put in the sauce, and it's sour cream. Uses a can of cream of chicken and 2 cans of cream of mushroom. And then I also, just to ramp it up a little bit, I put some green chilies in there, a little can of diced green chilies. I figured it's not really a breakfast dinner, so I wanted a little bit of taste in there. And you're going to just, and I like it lots of cream, so I sometimes put a little more sour cream in there. It takes like a 16-ounce sour cream, and you're just going to stir that around, get all those potatoes covered. And I won't take a lot of time to do that. You know how to do that. And then you're going to, now this ham, there's a lot of ham here. There's about 4 cups of ham. This is enough for 2. So I would just do like 2 good size handfuls in there, half the thing. And put that ham down in the potatoes. And there's your dinner. I mean, you can pop this in the oven. You're going to put cheese on the top, just your cheddar cheese. And you're going to pop that in the oven and have dinner. You can make a salad and a vegetable. And honestly, you could put peas in here. You could put green beans in here. You could put anything in here if you didn't want to make a vegetable alongside. But look how easy that is. And then if you're going to freeze it, you're just going to put it in the freezer. You're going to cover it. And if you put the cheese all over top, it should be fine with the foil. But if you have the sauce against the foil, sometimes you'll notice your foil gets little spots on it where the sauce eats out the foil. So I like to put plastic wrap over it first. You just have to remember to take that off before you put it in the oven. But put your plastic wrap and then your foil. And then I also like to label them. You'll see this is one I did earlier. I'm going to leave it on the cookie sheet because it's kind of heavy. But it's a pizza spaghetti, and it's just another recipe that I found, and you'll be able to make that when you get the recipe. And this is what it looks like. It's got pepperoni and pizza sauce and spaghetti in there. And then this one is also a chicken parmesan. It's just got chicken breasts with spaghetti, or it's got penne pasta in the bottom and sauce. And all you use for the sauce for those is just a jar of tomato sauce or spaghetti sauce, whatever your preference is, or you can make your own homemade. So whatever you like to do. But that's the ham and potatoes casserole. I'll get you the recipe for that. And then another thing you can do with this leftover ham is make mac and cheese and put your ham on top of the mac and cheese. And then also you can dice it if you just want to leave it like this in a bag in the fridge for your omelets. It works great for that with your omelet blend. So that's a little bit you can do with the Carve Master ham. Okay, next we're going to talk a little bit about chili. So today I prepared the Santiago Quick Start Chili. I'd never had this before. It's kind of fun. You just pour it in with 2.5 quarts of water into your crock pot. Let it cook for about 4 hours, and it comes out with a really good chili. It's a vegetarian chili, so there's no meat in there. I like a little meat in mine, so I put some hamburger in it, and you can see it turned out great. Tastes really good. I salt and peppered it up a little bit more for my liking, and it turned out really well. So it makes quite a good sized pot. And then I served it tonight with the Krusteaz cornbread, which also I'm really excited about. It tastes really good. I love cornbread. So let me give you a couple other ideas what you can do with the leftovers of chili, because we always have quite a bit left over when we're done with chili night. So a couple things. You can do Navajo tacos. You can use our stone ground scone dough and let that thaw out, fry it up, and have a Navajo taco with your chili on top. You can do what's called Frito pie, which is just a bowl of chili with like Fritos, like real Fritos in there, and sour cream and a little salt and pepper, or sour cream, lettuce, and tomatoes, a little bit of onion, and it tastes really good. Or you can just spoon it over top the Fritos, either way. Chili burritos are a really nice, fun thing if you want to cook a burrito and then just pour your chili over top with cheese, and chili dogs. And then also, I like to make super nachos. A lot of times people think they need to just make hamburger, but chili works great for those. So just pull out your chips, put your chili over top, and a little bit of the cheese, nacho cheese, and all your fixins that you like on nachos. And it turns out okay. The next one I want to tell you about is the meatballs. If you've never tried the Rosina's meatballs, they are amazing, but they're really versatile and they make a really fun and fast meal. So go ahead and take your meatballs. They're already pre-cooked, so all you're doing is warming them up. I just put them in my crock pot, and this is a meal I made with them, and this is the meatballs with a mushroom sauce, and I just used the universal sauce and a little bit of 1 can of cream of mushroom and then some sliced mushrooms, and put my meatballs in there and let it cook for the day, and then served over rice. So that's one way that you can do it. I love it also if you just want to put your meatballs in there and pour some barbecue sauce on them. They're really good, and they make a really good hors d'oeuvre. So if you have a place to go for a party during the holidays, just put your meatballs in a crock pot and put your barbecue sauce. You can either use barbecue sauce, you could use teriyaki sauce, or you could use sweet and sour. Any of those do really well for hors d'oeuvres, and they'll just eat meatballs and sauce. And if you do the sweet and sour, add pineapple and sliced green peppers to it. It's really good. Now, another hit at our house is the meatball sandwich. We take the Tuscan mini loaves, which I forgot to get out of my freezer, but they're Tuscan mini loaves, and I toast them, let them thaw, toast them on the cookie sheet, put a little butter on them, and when you toast them, just maybe 3 minutes or so. And then in the crock pot beforehand, I've put my meatballs with spaghetti sauce. Just a can of spaghetti sauce works great. And then you're gonna just pull those out, put them on your Tuscan mini loaf, and put a piece of mozzarella cheese or provolone cheese over it, and then toast them again so that the cheese melts. They are to die for and loved at our house. And so that's another way we use the meatballs and crock pots, and they work really well. Now, okay, last thing I'm going to tell you about is shepherd's pie. It's one of our family favorites. I'm going to go ahead and put it together as a freezer meal. I'm using a smaller pan because there's only my husband and I home now. So basically you're going to take probably about a half a pound, 3/4 of a pound of hamburger, and you'll season this with some ketchup and Worcestershire sauce. I always throw in a little bit of steak sauce too, just because I like a little bit of sharpness to the meat. But you're going to just line the bottom of your pan with that. This is a great thing to use leftover mashed potatoes with. We are actually going to use the roasted red skin mashed potatoes, and I kind of let them thaw a little too long. It also uses corn. Now you can use 1 can of corn, or this is frozen corn on the cob. I had a few ears left over, so I just took the corn off of the cob and froze it. And so we're putting the corn in there. Traditional shepherd's pie has peas in it. All these years I've been putting green beans in it, and I found out it was actually peas. But I'm going to go ahead and put the green beans because we like them. And I didn't have any plain green beans, so we're using the Riviera blend, which has the carrots in it too, so that'll be kind of fun. You can see how much I measure. I just throw it in there. And then you're going to put your mashed potatoes over the top, and they're kind of pouring out here, so you're going to just put them on the top and just layer it over the top, and then put some cheese over top. And that's going to be your shepherd's pie. It's always such a good hit at our house. Our family loves it. It's one of those comfort foods, especially when it's a cold night outside. I don't know why it feels so good to eat it, but it does. So go ahead and try all of these fun ideas. Hopefully it will make your Christmas season a better time of year for you, and you won't be quite so stressed with your food and all the preparation that goes into it. And I hope it works well for you. Thanks.
Hi everybody, I am excited today to talk to you about holiday baking and using Allison's Pantry products to make it easier, faster, and more fun. I have to tell you, the fun thing about the stuff that I made today is my family helped me. A lot of the recipes I'm going to give you are really family friendly, and it can be a family project to work on your cooking and your baking for your holidays, for your events that you have to go to, and then for the neighbor things that you want to take to your neighbors. So like I said, lots of fun. So I'd like to get started by telling you a little bit about our Krusteaz cookie mix. I had no idea how fun and easy this mix was going to be. All I did was I made these really fantastic sugar cookies, and all I did was add water, and they turned out just beautiful. And you look at these sugar cookies and you're like, oh yeah, she rolled them all out, that dough, and then she cut each one of those out and then put it on the cookie sheet. Nope, these were actually drop cookies that turned out this perfect. It's a drop cookie. I put it on the cookie sheet. All I did was add water, and then I dipped it in our white Ghirardelli chocolate chips, and then sprinkled some cut up candy canes on top of it. So what a fun treat to put on your goodie plates for the holidays. A couple of secrets that really helped this to work out really good. One of the things that I did was when I was heating my chocolate chips and melting them, I actually did that over the stove, and I added just a little bit of shortening, and then that gave it that really smooth consistency, a little bit like cake batter. So it was really easy to spread and really easy to dip because it worked out so good. And then we had the crushed candy canes that we dipped it into. So that worked out good. Another thing that I found out that works really well is when you pull your cookies right out of the oven and they're still hot, if you take your cookie sheet about a foot away from your kitchen counter and you just drop it. What that does is that pressure, it hits on your cookies and it causes them to settle so that they're settling really even, and they have a really even texture to them, and so they look really nice, and then that's going to help them to be soft. So then once you've done that, pick it up. Of course, you don't want to leave it on your counter. And then you can put them onto your cooling rack to cool. So I thought that was really a fun thing to do. I made two things out of one. When I made up my cookie dough recipe, my sugar cookies, I also made some little sugar cookie cups. And these were made just by putting them into mini muffin tins. And then when they came out of the oven and the oven was really warm, then I just took another muffin tin and I pressed down on top of it. And that made the hollow that I could fill this up. And this is actually filled up with a cream cheese, whipped cream frosting that is so good. In fact, I had a little leftover and I made a frosted cake with the leftovers. And then of course we've got our Wyman's berries on top. And so it's just a really, it's a lovely dessert that you can take to an event that you have coming up, or that you can serve at your Christmas dinner that was fast and really fun and easy. So this cookie dough makes so many different kinds of cookies. You can do peanut butter cookies, you can do chocolate chip cookies, you can do sugar cookies, snickerdoodles, pretty much any kind of cookie you can think of, you can make out of this because it's so very versatile. And I want to tell you a little bit about one of the best kept secrets from Allison's Pantry, and that's our Spiffy Whip. If you don't have this, you need it. What it is it's a powdered whipped cream. And all you do is add cold water to it and you whip it. And there's something that will really help before you get ready to whip it. If you'll take your metal bowl that you're going to be whipping it in and put that in the freezer for just 5 minutes, that'll make this whip really, really fast. One of the benefits of this is that it's shelf stable, so you keep it in your pantry rather than in your freezer, so it's not taking up freezer space. Another thing that's really great about it is that it also makes frosting, and it also makes a chocolate or a vanilla mousse, or you could add any flavorings to it. So it's really versatile, but I think the very best thing about it is the taste. It just has a really, really good taste, and once I started buying this for my family, they won't, if I get whipped cream from the store, they just put, you know, they turn up their noses and they won't eat it. So it's important to get something that you love, something that's going to work good, and the Spiffy Whip really does work good, so we love it. One of the other things that I made today was our truffles. Actually, I didn't make these. Yesterday there was no school, and so Amy and her friend made these for me. It's a chocolate truffle, and what we did was we used our Oreo pieces, our chopped up Oreo pieces, and also some cream cheese, roll it in a ball, and then dip it in Ghirardelli chocolate. And so it's really easy. It's also a very delicious dessert that you're going to love. Let me tell you a little bit about these Oreo pieces. So they come already smashed up, which makes it so much easier. And this is a really large bag, so you can make several recipes out of it and still have leftovers. And it's saving you time, and there's so many things you can do with Oreos. The PDF that I have given you that goes along with this webinar today has a whole bunch of really fun recipes with Oreos. There's a no-bake Oreo cheesecake bites, and there's also a mug cake that you can make and just put it into your microwave with our Ghirardelli white chocolate chips and our Oreo cookies. So just a treat for one. So lots of really fun things that you can do with this. It's versatile and it's really easy. Another thing that I made today is these darling little pretzel snaps. Everybody loves these at Christmas time, and my 10-year-old made these. He had so much fun. So all it is it's our pretzel snap with a Rolo and then a pecan just pressed into the top of it after it's been in the oven. You just put them in the oven for about 3 minutes at 200, and that makes them really soft, and then you just press that pecan into the top and then put them in the freezer for a couple of minutes until they harden. So this is a new product that we're carrying this year, and it's our pretzel snaps. These are really fun because, first of all, this is a giant container, so it's going to last you a while. Even my family, it will last a while. And there's so many different recipes of things you can do for the holidays with pretzels. Who knew? And I have several recipes for you that are part of the PDF, so you'll want to look for that. But yeah, lots of really fun things you can do. I love the shape, the square. Usually at the grocery store, you can get the little twist, or you can get the sticks, but I think the square, you can do a lot more different things with it. One of the recipes that I'll be sharing with you is a Buckeye pretzel, and you make a little sandwich. You have a peanut butter filling, and then you make it into a sandwich and then dip it in chocolate. So lots of really fun things that you can do with that also. Another thing that we made today, this was the first time we've ever made this, and it was a lot of fun. It is a peppermint bark. So it's got our Ghirardelli white chocolate, and so you do a layer of white chocolate, and then you drop the crushed up peppermint, the candies on it, and then you do another layer of chocolate, and then you drop the Oreo pieces on top of it, and then you do another layer of chocolate, and then you drop on more peppermint, and then you freeze it, and then you just break it up randomly into pieces. And one of the things that's really good about this, obviously it makes a ginormous batch, but one of the other good things about it is that you can put it in an airtight container on your counter, and it will be good for a few months. I mean, a few days. If you put it in your refrigerator, it'll be good for a few months. But I don't know about you and your house, but at my house, it'll last a couple of days if we're lucky. So really fun recipe that you can add to your goodie trays when you're doing your Christmas baking this year. The other thing that I would like to tell you about is our loaf pans. Now, a lot of times when people get these loaf pans, they're a little bit confused about how to use them and what to do with them. You can't really see this with the camera, but there are 4 little teeny tiny holes in the inside of this. Don't worry about those. When I first started using these, I thought, oh no, my batter's gonna drip through them, but they don't. It just helps the air and the heat to flow through better. You're gonna wanna grease it before you start, so I just sprayed it with Vaseline, and then how you cook it, I left it on the pan so you could see. What I did was I just took a cookie sheet or a pan, and then I just lined them all up at once, sprayed them with my Vaseline, and then poured my batter into them and let them cook. And you know they're done cooking when, let me see if I can show you. You know they're done cooking when you press down on the cake batter and it just springs right back at you. That lets you know that it's done. And the other thing that's really great about these loaf pans is they make really great gifts. You can use them for birthdays, you can use them for coworkers, you can use them for Christmas. These are a good thing to have on hand. We only carry these during the holidays, so you're gonna wanna stock up. The other thing that's really great about these is that our mini treat bags cover them perfectly. They fit exactly over the top of them. Excuse me. And then you can just tie them with a little bow and you're ready to go with a beautiful gift. So what I made was a sour cream pound cake, and then I just sprinkled some powdered sugar on top, and I used our Devil's Food Cake mix. Now the thing that's so great about these Krusteaz mixes, and you're gonna wanna consider this for your food storage, because all you have to do is add water. You really don't have to add anything else, but you can. And so with the pound cake that I made, it has sour cream and butter and milk, and so it made it even better than the mix by itself. And so it was a fun, versatile way to use these loaf pans. You know, these loaf pans can hold anything. You could put our muffins in them, our blueberry muffins or our raspberry muffins. You could put any cake mix in it, any muffin mix, you could even put the cookie mix in there and throw in some chocolate chips, and it would be really delicious. So definitely these are something you're gonna wanna add to your order. So lots of fun things we talked about today. Hopefully this is getting your brain going and you're getting excited about the holiday baking you'll be doing with your family. Hopefully you'll be able to get them involved also. Maybe your grandkids will wanna help you bake. So enjoy the ideas that I have today. Check out the PDF. There's gonna be some great baking tips to go along with some really fun recipes. Thanks.
Hi everyone, this is Becky, and today I want to talk to you about the perks of upselling. So, what is upselling? Upselling is where the seller, that's you, the sales rep, provides the buyer, that's our customer, the opportunity to purchase additional items to benefit, enhance, supplement, or otherwise improve upon their current purchase. Upselling happens everywhere. You may not have even realized it or recognized it, but here's some prime examples. McDonald's is famous for it. When you go in to purchase a burger, they'll ask you, would you like fries with that? They're upselling those fries with that burger. You might have gone in to buy a car before, and while you're purchasing the car, they're going to tell you, well, you know, you could upgrade to a better covering for the seats. So maybe you have a cloth covering and you might want to upgrade to a leather seat. Or they might offer you upholstery protection to keep those seats nice. They might offer you undercoating to keep the underneath of your car from rusting out and going bad sooner. They might offer you bonuses like buying a package deal for car washes or oil changes. If you purchase a lot online, Amazon does this really well. When you choose what you want to buy, they'll make other suggestions. They'll say something like, well, since you've bought this, you might also like to buy this, and they'll give you 2 or 3 other suggestions of things that go really well with that purchase. Or they might say, people who have bought this have also bought this, and again, 2 or 3 more suggestions of things that would go well with that item. So that's what upselling is, making that purchase, making that experience a little bit better because they're walking away with another benefit or something that's going to help them use that product better. So let's talk about some benefits of doing the upselling. First off, upselling is not just a sales tactic, but it is a happiness tactic for your customer. It's going to help you build a deeper relationship with them because you're delivering more value to them. Upselling is a lot easier than you think. It's easy because you're selling to your existing customers who are already purchasing product, and you're not trying to get a new person to try our products. So think about this. Trying to get new customers to purchase product they don't know anything about, you're only going to have about a 5 to maybe a 20% probability of getting them to purchase product, where selling more products to your customers who already know how great they are, you're going to have a 60 to 70% probability of selling those items to them because they already know how great our products are. The other benefit is the upselling increases your customer lifetime value. What that means is your customers are already buying from you. They already know how great the product is. So showing them how they can add to that purchase by a little thing here, a little thing there to make better what they've already bought. So maybe something to store the item in that will cause it to last longer, or it'll enhance the flavor of it. Maybe it'll extend it and make it last longer. Those kind of things are going to add to that. So your customer is going to continue to bring business to you because you're giving them great customer service, you're selling them great products, and they can come to you to get a lot of the things that they need. So hopefully they're going to begin buying even more things that they need from you, because let's face it, not every customer buys everything they're going to need for the whole entire month from you. They are going somewhere else to get products. So if you can show them how they can take their base purchase that they're contacting you with to buy, and they can add this to it, they're going to get more out of that purchase. It's going to meet their needs even better. Now, some of the mistakes that people, when they're upselling, do are these. Number one is not even asking for an upsell, not giving them suggestions. That's just like the answer is always no unless you ask. So you're losing a sell if you're not making some kind of attempt to suggest one or two things to them. Another mistake made is that the salesperson comes across as being very pushy. This is where a customer has called, they've ordered some spices, and I'll say, oh, you've got some spices, so let's get you some spice containers. How many would you like to add to your order? I'm just assuming they're going to want the spice containers, but maybe they don't need them. So you don't want to be pushy with it. It's just a suggestion. And the third mistake made is that the upselling is done in a very unconvincing manner. And so generally the customer is going to refuse whatever it is you're upselling. If my customer calls me and they're placing an order for the spice jar or for the spices, and I'll say, do you need spice jars with that? Is that exciting? No, it's not. But if I say, hey Jane, I noticed you've ordered some spices and I wondered if you needed spice jars to store those in. I love the spice jars that we sell, and so I've bought them in. You don't have to buy a whole case of 12. I have them individually, but they're here available anytime for you. So just let me know if you need those. And it's just a suggestion. I've just left it kind of open for her to say yes or no. She does. Now, the side to that is, or the next step, maybe she didn't get them this time. Maybe she thinks she doesn't need them. But when she comes to pick up her order, I have them sitting on my shelf in plain view where my customers pick up their orders. Hopefully that's going to ring that bell that maybe she's thought, oh, dang it, I should have got those spice jars. And there they are right there for her to purchase when she picks up her order. So, upselling, it is not hard. Let's talk about ways to do effective upselling. So first, you are just presenting information to your customers. It's just in a friendly suggestion. So you're buying the steak. Have you tried the garlic butter on it? Oh my goodness, it makes it so moist and juicy, adds just a wonderful flavor to it. I love it. Or, okay, you are getting those spices. Are you going to need spice containers to store those in? Or you're purchasing a 25-pound bag of oatmeal. Do you need a bucket to store that in? So you're just suggesting things. You're exposing your customers to other options or other things that they might not have thought about, and maybe they're going to need them. Now, the meal plans. The meal plans that we put on the blog a couple of weeks ago, that is another great way to upsell our products. Not only are you giving them an entire meal plan, but almost everything comes from Allison's Pantry. So you're showing them how our main course and our side and our rolls, our dessert, or whatever the meal plan is that you share with your customers, it all comes from Allison's Pantry, and it all comes together beautifully, and it provides a great meal for your customers. One-stop shop. They can get all those things from you, from Allison's Pantry. So meal plans are an awesome way to upsell our products. You want to focus on your customers' needs, not yours. Of course, we want to sell more product because we're going to make more money. That gives us more money to buy our own groceries, but that's not the customer's needs. So focus on what they need. The product should always add value to their purchase and help them with their needs. And you want to group things together so that they're related. You don't want to offer things that are totally not related to each other. And it's really helpful to have those groupings ahead of time. So we've helped you out. And we've put together a listing of products from our catalog, and this product will go great with this product, so you've got some suggestions. Here's a few of them. If your customer's buying Rosina meatballs, suggest them that if they'd like to have meatball sandwiches, the Tucson dinner rolls are perfect for those. If they're buying muffin mixes, ask them if they've tried our Lawford cream syrups. Oh my goodness, they are amazing. Vanilla is my favorite. If they've ordering muffin mixes, see if they need muffin papers. Or if they're buying the Janie Lou's cinnamon rolls, ask them if they've tried the cream cheese frosting. It is amazing. And in catalog 11, it is on sale. So those are great things to point out to your customers. And the last thing is the 25% rule. Now, how this works is anything that you suggest to your customers, it's only going to be within a 25% increase of their total order. So that works really great for if they're buying spices, suggesting a spice jar. If they're buying a 25-pound bag of product, suggest the bucket. Now, sometimes the products are equal, and that would happen with gamma lids and buckets. So if your customer's buying a bucket, I always ask them if they've ever tried the gamma lids. I love these things. They're amazing. And you want to share with them. They're so easy to get into. You're not going to break your nails trying to get those hard lids off. You're not going to hurt your fingertips trying to leverage those lids off. They have a seal on them. They pop down on the bucket. It twists on and off. You're in and out very easily. They're an amazing investment, and it is an investment. They cost as much as the buckets. So I'm not always pushing that, but I'm just sharing it and saying, you know, in the future, maybe next order, you might want to invest in this. If you're getting in and out of that bucket a lot, it's a great buy. So great things to share with your customers. So in summary, hopefully you've picked out these things. Number one is be aware of what your customers are ordering. Then make appropriate suggestions, things that will enhance and add to what they're buying. You only want to pick one or two things to upsell from their order. Don't try to upsell them something on every single item that they buy. Just one or two things is great. Focus on what the benefits are of the product. Like I shared about the gamma lid, why they would want to invest and purchase one of those, why they would want to have spice containers versus just having open bags of spice in their shelves or in Ziploc bags. They're not very organized. You know, show them the benefits of why those would be so great. Or the garlic butter on the steaks, making them so tender and juicy and giving them a lot, you know, just a little bit better flavoring. It's just given those testimonies of why you love these products and why they would want to purchase them. But I want you to understand, please don't feel bad if your customer doesn't buy the things that you're upselling to them and offering to them, because ultimately that final decision is theirs, and we want our customers to be happy. We want them to be happy with their purchase. We want them to come back month after month to buy their products from us. So ultimately, a successful upsell, it's one where the customer never regrets buying that optional item. So if they're good with what they've sent you and they don't want anything else, that's the priority there, is that they're happy. So I hope I've given you some great ideas, helped you to see that upselling is not hard. It's sharing these great products that we love, showing our customers how to use them and how they can benefit them. And I hope that this will help you to grow your sales, to have happy customers, and that you enjoy being a sales rep. Thank you so much.